everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Happy Wednesday to you all. I hope that you're having a fantastic day so far. Just a reminder that this week we are talking about important reminders, and today, Wednesday, we're going to be talking about it's okay to not be okay. And before we jump into the episode, again, happy Wednesday. I hope that you're having a great day, whether your day is just beginning, in the middle, or towards the end. If you are having a tough day, if you're struggling, if you just feel like you really want to move on from a certain part of your day, I encourage you to take the 5-minute reset, which is to take at least 5 minutes to be by yourself. And it allows you to reset, reboot, restart your day right then and there. And it also allows you to take some time away from anything that is stressing you, causing you issues, a burden to you, and just take a break from it. It's kind of just dragging you down and not allowing you to have the best day ever. Also, you can take time to come up with any resolutions for any problems or issues that you're dealing with, whether alone or with someone else. The best part of the 5-minute reset, I believe, is coming up with at least 4 things that you are grateful for. That is something I always suggest. You can be grateful for something that is big, something that is small, something that is medium size. It doesn't matter. You can literally be grateful for almost anything, which is, actually, I would say anything. You can literally be grateful for anything. Like, I'm sitting here in my office recording, and I can be super grateful for the cute little string lights that I hung up in my office to make it look all cute. Or I can be grateful that I got a great deal on Bath & Body Works candles. I can be grateful that I finally finished my Christmas shopping. And I can be grateful that I was able to have like a date night in with my husband, with my daughter being away for the night. And you can just be grateful for so many random things. It's amazing. It means the list is never ending, my friends, which is fantastic. And last but not least, make sure that you're feeling at least neutral, if not positive, about the rest of your day, because hopefully coming up with a gratitude list and just taking a little bit of time to reflect on the positive blessings in your life and take a break from all the stressors, you will realize that it makes everything much easier and better if you focus more on the positive than the negative. I am not saying this is 100%. This is not like fairy dust will fix everything, but it'll just help you, to get through the hard times that you're going through. And it doesn't mean that you're diminishing your feelings or anything like that. It just means that you are just making the choice to fall back on those things when it just feels like everything is crappy. But I do hope that you are having a good, fantastic day. Like I said at the top of the show, this week we are talking about important reminders. And today, Wednesday, we are talking about it's okay to not be okay. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. I figured that talking about how it's totally fine to not be okay would be really helpful during this time of year. A lot of us struggle with so many emotions during the holidays, and that shouldn't be something you feel ashamed or need to hide. I do not believe. You don't need to feel bad about how you are feeling and coping with whatever is going on in your life. Everyone has periods of their lives where things are hard and emotions will cling and drag you down. That's part of the thing I talk about in the 5-minute reset. Sometimes we just have those burdens that are just literally weighing us down so much. And it's important for us to realize that those periods will come. We will have to experience those things. And yes, when I talk about the 5-minute reset, I'm asking you to, kind of like draw a line in the sand and cut the cord from that part of your day. But I'm not saying that you're going to pretend like, I do. I feel like I kind of like joke, like pretend like it never happened. But you do need to take in like any sort of learning lessons from that and then use those to move forward. You don't want to just totally pretend like it didn't happen, because I feel like every experience, even good and bad, will be able to pull something from that. So I just want you to know, because I'm sure you're like, but Sabrina, you talk about focusing on the positive and, just like forgetting that part of your day happened. And I am not saying that you're just hiding or pretending like your feelings don't exist. No, it's important for you to be self-aware and to practice personal development and understand like who you are and what you're all about. I preach that so often here. So I want you to know that there is a little bit of a distinction there, that yes, it's important for you to, if it's just become too much and you can't deal with it, then yeah, just go ahead and restart your day right then and there. I feel like it's a growth opportunity for you to move forward and but still like process the feelings that you're having. Like if you just feel like you're having a frustrating day because of work, like that's not, you understand that you're feeling frustrated. Okay, well, move forward. So it's a little different than when people say that it's not okay to be okay, because it totally is. I believe that part of the reason we all feel like not being okay is a bad thing is because there is like a societal pressure to keep it to ourselves, not drag anyone else down with us. And don't expose your emotions for fear of burdening someone else. This is something that I was kind of taught when I was growing up, which is part of the reason why I struggle so hard with perfectionism and people pleasing, is because I was taught not to burden anyone. You don't want to be a burden to anyone, because if you are a burden to someone, or your feelings are a burden to someone, then you are someone else's problem. You are causing a literal weight onto someone else. And that's not what you want to do. You want to kind of be invisible, but there when you're needed. That's what pretty girls do. And that's kind of what I was taught growing up. And so I was taught definitely to mask and hide your emotions, because no one else wants to see that. They have their own things that they're going through, but it always confused me a little bit that, friends and family would console each other, but, I was supposed to be the tough one, and don't expose your feelings. And if you are, you're labeled as weak. It's like a whole thing. So if you struggle with that, know that you're not alone, and that it is okay to not be okay. It truly is. But yeah, I do feel like it's a societal pressure for us to just keep ourselves together, just pretend like everything is fine, pretend like we're living in a utopia where no one has any issues ever, which is just so fake and sad. But yeah, so there is also the aspect of perfectionism, people pleasing, like I spoke about, that can cause people to pretend like everything is okay. And it's like wearing a mask where you're just like, yeah, I'm doing fine. Oh, you just got fired from your job. Yeah, but it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm fine. It's like that meme of the dog that's sitting in the room at the table or at his desk and everything's on fire. And he's like, it's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. It's deep sarcasm. He's not fine. He's just pretending and trying to feel like it's gonna be okay. Everything is on fire around me. Problems arise. I'm feeling the pain, but everything is gonna be okay. And it's tough for me because I like to shift from feeling my emotions and then jump back into gratitude, because I feel like for me personally, gratitude is the thing that keeps me balanced. It keeps me level. It helps me not to fall deeper into the pit of emotions that I don't need to be in. I feel like there is a balance of feeling and understanding your emotions, but also not tipping the scale so far that you slide down into the pool where you could drown, and you can get stuck in the black hole, as my husband would say, of emotion. So I feel like there is a way for you to take it too far, but just know that you are able to take it to a point where you can experience them, feel them through, understand them, and then use that what you've learned from exploring your own emotions as a growth opportunity and be able to move forward. But yeah, so like I said, the aspect of perfectionism and people pleasing can cause people to pretend like this is okay. And I think this is one of the most dangerous things to do, because if you are dealing with really heavy things and don't reach out for help and no one else knows what you're going through, you could fall into a deep depression and convince yourself to do regrettable things. So that would be the dark pit, the sea of deep emotion that you let yourself slide into if you're not too careful. Because it's one thing to feel your feelings and understand them and really figure out why this is happening and how you're affected in this way. And it's another thing to really want to sit in those feelings day after day after day and let them kind of slowly and then all of a sudden quickly drag you down into the pit where you are having the hardest time getting out unless someone comes to help you. Generally at that point, someone else has to come pull you out so that you can finally have the sun shine on your face and understand that, okay, I took it a little too far. This was a little much. So I truly believe that there is a balance there. And, there is an article that I read on Psychology Today by Hannah Rose that talks about how we need to show up for every single emotion, no matter how painful, or we are destined to continually manifest those experiences in our lives until we deal with it. I believe this is absolutely true. It's also part of the reason we drag around our emotional baggage from relationship to season of life. We don't take the time to properly deal with it, and we just let it cling to us. And I think that if we do take the time to properly deal with our feelings and emotions and what we're going through and why that makes us sad and angry and upset and anxious, and then figure out, if there's triggers there, if there's reasons why, if there's other feelings that haven't been properly examined and thought through that are causing those secondary feelings, then we'll be able to move through those things, learn what we need to do, and then move forward, because even if there's still a trigger left over, at least it's not this like super duper heavy baggage that you just continue to shove under the rug until there's a freaking mountain under that rug, man, that you gotta vacuum up. It's so tough. So, but yeah, we have to deal with it no matter how painful it is. And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of us want to cover up our emotions, because we don't want to go through the pain and hurt and actually have to like dig into that and figure out why it's causing us that, why it's, and then how long we think it'll take to recover and be able to move through it and understand it and understand why we're feeling that way. And we might not even get to the true root, but at least trying to explore it, get a little bit deeper and maybe ask a professional to help us figure that out. Then we'll be able to take a learning opportunity from that and grow and become stronger on our journey to be our best selves, right? So I think we need to normalize that it's okay to struggle and be unhappy and be sad and not smile, Something that bugs me so much is stop telling women to smile, okay? This has happened to me so much where I will just be like straight face. I won't even have like necessarily a mad face, but I have been told that sometimes I do have resting bee face, so that's just is what it is. But sometimes I'll just be thinking deeply, and so I'll just be staring, but I'm not smiling. And I have had older gentlemen be like, oh, smile. Like literally, there was actually a controversy with a gentleman that I worked with. We worked it out, but there was a controversy when he first started working there. He would actually be like, why don't you smile? Or he'd be like, oh, smile. And it's like, I don't want to smile, I will do whatever the frick I want to do. I just want to like have a straight face. I just want to like just sit here and think. I don't need to smile all the time. Do you understand that smiling all the time really hurts your face? It really hurts my face. So I think it's just annoying. Stop telling people to smile. Women, men, doesn't matter. Like, stop telling them to smile if they don't want to smile. Like, they'll smile if they want to smile, or tell them to smile if you're taking a picture. But other than that, don't just walk up to people or walk by them and be like, you should smile. It'll look better on you. Like, how rude is that? It's so rude. Don't do it. So another article that I read, clinical therapist Jamie Zuckerman talks about the idea, and this was in the Harvard Business Review, the idea of toxic positivity, which I found so astounding. And I think I'm actually going to make a quick YouTube video on it probably next week after Christmas, because the idea is so good. Clinical therapist Jamie Zuckerman talks about the idea of toxic positivity and how that is related to the inability of normalizing feeling our true feelings. It's just, it's amazing. It's the idea that despite what we are going through, we should always try to force positive thoughts and vibes and have a positive mindset, and by doing this, we end up invalidating our true feelings, making our emotional state worse because we are allowing the pain and hurt to get even deeper, like I was talking about before, and validating that it isn't okay to not be okay, which isn't true. So I just thought the idea of toxic positivity is such an interesting thing because, I will go on rants about how, we should all try to be a little bit more positive, seek a more positive mindset. That's like one of the biggest things. If you go on social media, people are sharing those kinds of thoughts and ideas and motivational quotes and everything. And I'm all about being positive, like actually tapping into being positive. However, I do believe in the balance of actually, recognizing that we're not going to feel positive all the time. Sometimes we will try to force ourselves to be positive and we just can't get there yet. My husband was talking about earlier today how you can just make a choice and be happy. And, while I feel like that can be true in some points, I don't believe it can be true in all points, because sometimes the pain is just so deep that you can't just click on and be happy. No, you have to be able to go and ride that roller coaster of emotions. and then finally come to the end and make the choice of wanting to feel okay with it. So, but yeah, it's just the idea of like, telling people like, oh, just have a positive mindset despite what they're going through, what they're struggling with, and that we always have to, cling to that idea when we're going through hard stuff. Why can't we just cling to the idea of like, oh yeah, you are really upset and feel betrayed? Okay, yeah, feel those feelings, feel them out, deal with it, get back to me in like a day or two, and then tell me like how you were able to work through that and how now you're able to shift to gratitude and then a positive mindset. And you notice how I like to talk about gratitude like a lot. I feel like gratitude is the thing that I like to fall back on when I'm having a hard time. So today I was dealing with something and I was able to just shift to gratitude. Like, okay, I'm kind of being petty. I'm dealing with these emotions. It's okay to, and I was talking to my therapist and he's like, it's okay to deal with, it's okay to have those thoughts. It's fine. It's totally fine. It's just a matter of like, what are you going to do next? And the thing that really helps me is if I'm having, those feelings that are just kind of taking me over, I will try to jump back to gratitude, because that's not really faking anything. It's just more of like realizing, okay, how big is this problem actually? Like, am I able to just jump to being grateful for 1, 2, 3 different things and then I feel better? Or do I need to like spend more time dealing with those feelings and then again jump back to gratitude? I feel like it just balances me and kind of, changes my perspective a little bit of like, okay, how serious is this? How dramatic am I making it? Having that real talk with yourself of being able to work through those emotions that you may be currently struggling with. But yeah, so I think I'm going to talk more about that maybe here and on my YouTube channel, because it's just so fascinating. And I feel like it's super fitting for the time right now where everyone loves to just shove positive mindsets down your throat. Like, believe me, I love positivity too, but you can't you shouldn't be faking that stuff, because it's not positive. It's toxic. I also want to mention that on the flip side, if someone is dealing with something tough, you shouldn't just tell them it's going to be okay. Like, instead, or in addition to that, you should let them know it's okay for them to feel the way that they are feeling, we all have thoughts and emotions, and there is nothing wrong with that. It's more about how we act on those thoughts and feelings. And that's actually something that my therapist was talking to me about today, because I was talking about how I was having petty thoughts, how I was upset and irritated, and how I feel like my feelings were a little bit irrational. And he was like, that's totally fine. Like, you can have those irrational thoughts. We all have them. It's natural. It's normal. But it's a matter of like what you do with those thoughts, if you're actually going to act on those. And, because I was like, man, it makes me feel like I need to be, like I was acting vengeful with what I was telling him I was struggling with. And he's like, well, but if you're not actually acting on it, it's not, it's not like you've committed any sort of offense. You just like, were just angry in the moment, and that's okay. And it's okay to deal with those emotions and figure out where the root of that pain is coming from, because I was just mad about something that definitely was more surface level, and the pain was definitely rooted somewhere much deeper. And so we're having a conversation about that. But yeah, it's totally important to understand that, it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. It's okay to go through those emotions. We all have them. If someone tells you that they don't, they're lying. Straight up, they're lying. And yeah, we need to not hide those. We need to not try to push those down. We need to let them be free and fly and understand them more, and we'll get to know ourselves better more. But yeah, so don't be the person that just tells someone to buck up or just get over it, because that doesn't help anyone work through their pain and discomfort. Just cover it up and avoid it while it continues to get worse. And that's what will happen if you just continue to like push someone to get over it. And I feel like this was like a really common thing that happened. I feel like it's getting better now, but I'm sure it's still a problem for men. You know how men will tell other men, just buck it up, don't be emotional, don't show like how you're actually feeling, which I feel like is a real struggle for them, and I feel like that actually was a struggle that that other men that I know have gone through, and which is why they struggle with sharing their emotions and feelings and, being more open about that. And I think that we need to normalize that it's okay. It's okay to feel the way you're feeling, as long as you're not going to act negatively on it, and then figure out what it means to you, where it's rooted, how you can work on reacting better having a different emotional reaction later if you think that'll serve you better in the moment and in that season of your life, So, but yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say about that, you guys. It's okay to not be okay. I know I kind of jumped around a little bit talking about different theories and such, but in the end, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel your feelings. It's okay to be down and sad and bummed and anxious for a little bit, as long as you don't let it creep too much. But it's really healthy, because then you're able to process what you're feeling and then move through it and then learn from it and grow and become your best self over time. So thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Again, my name is Sabrina. Happy Wednesday to you, all my friends. Check the description box for notes for the show, where to find me on Instagram, and my email address for any questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, feedback, topic suggestions, or just to say hey, hi, and hello to me. Thank you so much for listening, downloading, sharing. I appreciate it so much. Come back tomorrow, where I'll be talking about you have to believe in yourself before anyone else does. And then on Friday, we were talking about it's okay to be yourself. But until then, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.